Democritus. Everything was made of atoms or particles which were indivisible. Indivisible means they can't be broken down to anything any smaller. That's what he thought. But we later discovered that's not entirely true. There are actually electrons, protons, and neutrons, but he didn't know that back then. And then well done. It was Schreier who said that Thomson discovered the electron. He did that in 1897. And this led to the plum pudding model. In terms of electrons, what did he discover? What did he add to the nuclear model number 2? Any volunteers? Peter?
They orbit energy cells.
Yeah, exactly. So he was the only one who discovered that there were orbits. The electrons orbited in, like Peter said, shells. So you could say, if you weren't completely sure about this question, you could jot down BOHR, Bohr, found that electrons must orbit the nucleus in energy levels or shells. So a good thing to do if you're making notes is to make a note of any new keywords and define them, say what they mean. So for homework, you'll be looking at this diagram again and trying to list out the steps. And it could be in your own words, but try and include all of the key terms. What else would you improve?
Like using a ruler.
Yeah, definitely using a ruler. And Safa, anything else?
When you're drawing your points, you should use like either crosses or, well, you should use crosses.
Yeah, this person has some circles as well as the crosses. They've mixed it up. Great. That's a good point as well. Tamara, anything else?
I said that to include units.
To include units, yes. Height could be. What units would you be looking to include there?
Like centimeters.
Come across a horizontal line, it means the object is still or stationary. If you have a steeper diagonal line, you're moving faster at a constant speed. Can anyone guess what number 4 is, the downwards line? What's happening then? You could be moving from a distance of 40 to, well, going back to 0. This is a challenge for you. Draw a time distance graph to show the following. You could sketch this, and I could ask you all to hold up what you've got. And this is a big challenge, you sketching your first graph. So don't forget that we have time along the x-axis and distance on the y-axis. And so on. So someone's listed what these cells have, but the question was, describe the similarities and differences of a bacterial cell and a plant cell. So someone has listed what a plant cell have and what a bacterial cell have. To make this an answer that actually answers the question, you would have to say that the differences are. You could say plant cells have a nucleus, chloroplast, mitochondria, and permanent vacuole, but the bacterial cells don't have any of those things. You'd have to make it a bit clearer that those are actually differences, rather than just listing what the cells have. And the same with if you were talking about similarities, you'd have to say they both have, for example, and then list the organelles that they have. Next question underneath, give 2 features of the malarial protist that show the cell is eukaryotic and not prokaryotic. Someone has said it has a nucleus. Yeah, eukaryotic cells do. Number 2, it hasn't got a cell wall. That is true. It doesn't have a cell wall. However, it's not an answer you're allowed because some eukaryotic cells do have cell walls. So animal cells don't. However, plant cells and fungal cells and algal cells, they're eukaryotics too, and they do have a cell wall. And remember, eukaryotes is a wide group. It's anything that's not bacteria. It's anything that has a nucleus. So it's not just talking about animal cells there. So some eukaryotics do and some don't have a cell wall. What could you have said? So give two features of the malarial protist that show the cell is eukaryotic. It has a nucleus and it has mitochondria and cytoplasm and a cell membrane. Would a prokaryotic cell would have a cell membrane and it would have cell cytoplasm. So you could only say it has mitochondria and a nucleus. That would be the answer. Is that okay? The sign tells drivers to drive at a slower speed in wet weather. Explain why it is safer for drivers to drive at a slower speed in wet weather. Someone has said because it makes cars less likely to lose control due to reduced grip. Think about the words the examiner wants to hear. Rather than grip, it would be reduced friction. Show that a speed of 31 meters per second is less than a speed of 130 kilometers an hour. Again, you haven't shown all of the steps. This means we can't give a mark for working, basically. And I could show you the actual answers as well. Show that a speed of 31 meters per second is less than a speed of 130 kilometers per hour. This is showing you how to show your working. 31 meters in 1 second times 60. And as you can see, this is the layout of the actual working. I don't know if you need me to read it out, but just the idea that you need to show every step-by-step pieces of working, including conversions. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, divide by 1,000. So you could easily do that on the calculator, but the examiner would like you to show this in the exam, which is especially important if you get the answer incorrect, because at least you can be given some marks for working. So we call replacing the numbers in the formula with your numbers from the question. That's called substitution in the mark scheme. And it's called conversion when you convert one number to another. So there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So you divide by 1,000. Make sure you know which direction to go with those.